and welcome to Autocar Professional Trends Podcast. June 2026 again has been a stellar month for automobile sales. And to talk more about it, like always, I have industry expert Mr. Arun Malhotra with me.
Hello.
Thank you so much, Arun sir, for joining us today. Now, again, very good performance in June. We have crossed around 4 lakh units for the entire sector. Q1 is mostly highest ever for many companies. What's your take?
Yeah, absolutely. As far as passenger vehicles concerned, I think this is the fifth consecutive month where it is above 4 lakhs. Generally, June is not supposed to be a great month, but 4 lakh 10,000 retail in the month of June is a very high month, and it's doing exceptionally well. And if you look at retails in June versus last June, the growth is to the tune of about 27%.
Yeah.
And this doesn't only limit itself to passenger vehicles. If you go to two-wheelers also, the growth is 22%. You go to commercial vehicles, the growth is 28%. You go to three-wheelers, it is again 20%. And if you go to tractors, it is 14 to 15%. So across the board, whether it is passenger vehicle, two-wheeler, three-wheeler, commercial vehicle, tractors, stellar month.
Yeah, exceptionally good. Not exceptionally now, it has become the norm to
But
have
it's
good months.
further raised the bar. Nobody expected June to be so well.
Yeah, that's true. First half of the first quarter of every year is mostly very muted. No,
Absolutely.
Generally there are no festivals, no major festivals. So it's generally very muted, and the wedding season is also just about to start. But this year is exceptional because
Absolutely.
of that fact. Now let's talk about some of the segments. You of course spoke about 3 segments, but I also want to focus about two-wheelers specifically, because after March 2026, people were thinking that maybe there will be a slowdown, but again that has defied the trend, that defied the expectations. What's happening in two-wheeler segment?
Two-wheelers, you see, two-wheelers also got into a consistent range like what passenger vehicle got into the 4 lakh range. Two-wheelers are consistently clocking between 17 to 19 lakhs a month. And which is a good month because it's about, again, 20% growth over last year. Clearly, EVs are also contributing a substantial amount because the growth there are phenomenal point of view. But two-wheelers has been overall good. And generally, there were 2 negatives which one may assume for two-wheelers, that there'll be heavy monsoon in June. It didn't happen. And the other thing is that there'll be lack of monsoon in the coming months. But overall, the sentiment both the urban and rural area is good. And there is no reason to believe that the two-wheeler will slow down. And it will
In
continue.
fact, rural is becoming quite significant. Yesterday at the Maruti call, they are very positive about rural. In fact, 40%, over 40% of their sales is now coming from rural.
Absolutely. See, rural is a big constituency.
Yeah.
And the stresses which are more in urban, rural, remunerative prices are there. Crops have been generally good. Non-agriculture income is also rising. To that extent, it is on a positive track. So, and the world global factors don't impact rural that extent to extent urban points. So that's why overall good.
With the fuel price increase, there was a worry that it will probably hamper demand, but clearly it hasn't hampered it as much as people were anticipating.
So, expectation was that the fuel price will be much higher.
Yeah.
If you look at the increases, even cumulative, both the increases are 7 to 8%, which is nothing much. The expectation it will go up by 15 to 18%. And on top of it, there is now news in the last few days that the global prices, crude prices, are stabilizing or going down. So clearly, it cannot increase in the future.
They are
So that's
40% down from the top.
So effectively, you didn't get the increase which you got in other countries. You got a very muted increase. And now the news is that the increase will go down. So there is no way government can increase prices further.
Yeah.
So that extent it stabilized. And then it gave a fillip to the EV market also.
That's true. I think the demand shifted from passenger vehicle fuel, petrol and diesel to EVs, because EVs have had amazing growth, double in passenger vehicles and two-wheelers, again very good numbers. But before we go into details of EVs, I want to ask about ethanol. Now, do you think that's also a concern and will probably increase and then again in turn give impetus to EVs?
So first of all, let's look at where does ethanol is relevant. It's relevant only in petrol vehicles.
Yeah.
petrol in passenger vehicles is down to 45%. So it's a constituency of that 45%. And in two-wheelers, it is still there, 100%, 90% is petrol. And you take commercial vehicles, the entire range from LCV to HCV. You take tractors, you take earthmoving equipment. You don't have a concept of ethanol because there is no petrol vehicles. So, and that even it's a long gestation period. We're talking of changing of the engine, design, flex fuel, 85%. Rome was not built in a day. So nobody is seeing the ethanol impact, positive or negative, in the short run. It's a work in progress, early days. So I don't think in the year or two it makes any impact which is there. The only thing is government might raise from the E20 to E25. There'll be some resistance on that count that does it impact adversely the vehicles. But that the story of flex fuel which is there is a long drawn out story. No impact for this year.
That for sure, because despite what people are worried about, E85, E100, your and our cars cannot run on E85,
Absolutely.
E100. Only flex fuel vehicles can
Which is-
run. For that, OEMs have to first manufacture flex fuel vehicle. Right now, we have one from Maruti and one from Suzuki, two-wheeler, which is on sale. But otherwise, people have said it, but they have not
It's a
launched
long,
it.
long way to go.
And then OMCs, oil marketing companies, have to build the entire chain across the country for E85 and E100. The government has said like 500 by the end of this year and 5,000 by next year. So, but then again, that will be a choice.
So, I would just sum up in one line. There was an old phrase, Delhi dur hai. As far as ethanol is concerned, Delhi bahut dur hai.
Well, E20 is already here. which
E20 is
what-
integrated into it. But I'm just
Yeah.
talking of flex fuel. When we talk of flex fuel, we talk of the 80-85%.
True.
That's part of it. Yeah.
True. But what my question was, is the worry of higher blends impacting your fuel efficiency, impacting the longevity of your car, impacting your service cost? Is that forcing people to maybe think about other fuels? 41% CNG in Maruti's portfolio. EVs have had great growth. Do you think that's also happening?
See, two things have happened. Let's dissect the two part of it. One is the CNG coverage in terms of network of charging stations have become much more dense. That is one part of it. Second is the number of models which give CNG as option. If Maruti has touched 40% production and 12 models are on CNG, and similarly Tata is doing, Hyundai is doing. So CNG is becoming more mass-based. That is one part of it. Second, this petrol price hike, which was expected, didn't happen, but still is very high. And the charging infrastructure on EV, the range, reach, the entire image is getting better. So people are seeing EV also an alternative thing. So effectively, if you ask, the point of view is CNG on one side, EV on the other side, and petrol, the uncertainty which is there on the price hike and other things. This is all, I'm not saying making a major dimensional change, but petrol is down.
Yeah.
That is clearly, and diesel also is not down. So petrol is down. So that's one thing we'll have to keep in mind.
Petrol is the one which is bearing the brunt of all sides.
And then
right
petrol
now.
is only relevant for two product categories: two-wheelers and passenger vehicles. And beyond everything, three-wheeler, commercial vehicles, tractors, earthmoving equipment, there is no sign of petrol at all.
Yeah, they are either EV, LPG, or
Whatever it may be, it is
yeah,
not there.
There are many options there. But there is a tectonic shift in energy usage, fuel. There's petrol's down. Petrol's taking a big beating across. Diesel, as you said,
Consistently,
is consistent. CNG rising and EV rising.
Absolutely.
There was, I was having a conversation with my colleague Sergius, and we were thinking that, people said that after petrol it will be EV, but looks like there is and in between maybe hybrid. Hybrid's not growing as fast.
Hybrid is consistent. I mean, it's not rising.
It was also not getting the support. But in between, there's a surprise actor which has come up, which is CNG.
I won't say surprise. It's been
To be so significant.
It's a steady growth. If you look at CNG growth over the last 5 years, it's a steady, consistent growth. I mean, I call it the Ajay Devgan of the film industry.
Yeah.
He's always on the top. Doesn't mean not very flashy, not very glamorous, but always at the top.
Yeah.
And CNG is growing slowly and steadily. And it's a good alternative in the sense.
And also products that have come up, for example, underbody in Victoris, dual cylinder in many of the Tata
vehicles.
products, and now other people are also adopting the same technology. That has also the biggest negative of CNG is the fact that you compromise on the boot space, and that's being taken
That's
care
been
of.
taken care of.
Yeah, of course, it's everything else you get used to, but
So
you can't get used to
and I
not
think
having space.
ultimately we are coming to the era of a rainbow coalition.
Yeah.
The rainbow coalition can work differently in different segments. There'll be horses for courses. Two-wheelers will be different, passenger vehicles will be different, commercial vehicle different, three-wheelers is different.
But how do you see Delhi EV policy? Do you think that it's very strong in favor of EVs? And should there have been, like, for example, there is no benefit given to any other, like hybrids are not in the purview of benefits. CNG is not in the purview of benefits. Only EV. Is it too focused towards EV?
It's absolutely pro EV.
Yeah.
See, one, that incentives work in two ways. One is the incentive, and if there's a disincentive to other fuel technologies, that's also an incentive for EV.
Yeah.
So, look at, first of all, we are talking of banning other technologies or other fuel types. Then we are talking of scrappage benefit. Then we are talking some incentive given to people who try it for the first time. And then we already have a national policy which is a lower GST of 5%. So it's winning all the way in there. And it's also coincided with people accepting EV as a technology. If it, suppose this policy came out a year back, probably would have been, the noise would have been much higher. Today, there's not much shrill noise when we are being talked of. People are saying, yes, this is a problem. Are we going to overcome these challenges? There's no such a storm in this point.
But do you think this policy could have been more incentive oriented rather than saying that only two-wheeler EVs can get registered from 2028 onwards?
So, there can always be two views on this, which is there. But I don't know, there might be some dilution with times to come. There have been dilution on scrappage policy, there could be. But the point is the direction, the number of incentives this side, it is very heavily loaded. The die is very loaded on that side.
Yeah.
To that extent, even if there is some further leeway given, because see, in three-wheelers and this thing clearly, you will not have much fuel technology left. Only one is CNG competing, and there are also EVs rising. Only two-wheelers, the one big challenge, if a lot of people are talking of, we don't have a viable motorcycle in the EV segment. So 1.5 years later, people who want to buy motorcycles, what will they do? If the motorcycles don't come in. So that's...
Even if they come, they won't have that many choices because in next 1.5 years, not that many products are going to come.
And probably this noise will become, but it's still 1.5 years away.
Yeah.
If it was 6 months away, the noise would have been different. 1.5 years, we'll wait and see.
6 months away, I think manufacturers would not be ready with the products.
1.5 years is a long time.
But I also feel that I think this will force people to get their vehicles registered in and around Delhi because Delhi is very porous.
So that will be there, but I think the policy could be extended. When CNG came, it wasn't limited to Delhi. Yeah. And the neighbouring states of Haryana and UP are also BJP states.
Yeah.
So ideally, this policy could flow into those two states even. Logically.
I also want to ask about hybrids because in draft policy, on the purchase of hybrid passenger vehicle, there was incentive to the tunes of 50%. Whereas in the final policy, there is no mention of hybrid.
See, hybrid from a government policy point of view, and let me take national policy point of view, it's been losing out.
Yeah.
There used to be something that hybrid should get special benefit. If you look at the last GST changes which happened from the end of September last year, hybrid, petrol, diesel, all were on the same plate based on only engine capacity.
Yeah.
So hybrid actually started losing out 8 months back. There was a clear benefit of hybrid versus diesel and petrol. It is not there. And now you're having a Delhi policy. So you don't have a GST benefit. You are on the same plane. So hybrid, and ultimately hybrid also the choice. If in EV there are 10 companies or 12 companies offering EVs today. And there's a cross price band from 9 lakh starting to the luxury cars. If you look at EVs, you look at hybrids, basically 2 companies only.
Currently. But if you see global trends, especially if you look at Europe, China, of course, is completely EV. But Europe, which is an amalgamation of many technologies, pretty much like India, is now focusing a lot on hybrid because they have learned that only EV, your reliance on China goes up very heavily.
One thing which is a very, I think, positive and surprising, a lot of people said that the moment you ramp up production in EVs, there will be a supply chain constraint.
Yeah.
Look at two-wheelers, last month 1,95,000. And I'm sticking my neck out. If supply chain constraint doesn't happen, in October you're going to see 3 lakh EV two-wheelers.
No, you're absolutely right about
Passenger
supply
vehicles,
chain. Yeah.
7.5% penetration. It used to be 3.5%
Yeah.
just a year back.
Yeah.
Today, 31,000 have been sold. Tata Motors has sold more than 12,000.
And they have told us in a conversation with Autocar Professional that Harrier.ev's demand is actually double. Punch.ev's demand is 2 to 3 times. They are not able to supply because their supplies, they say that our manufacturing facility is fungible and they can produce more, but suppliers are not ready.
So I believe that once the demand picks up, the customer pull comes or the customer acceptance comes, the supply chain takes care of itself.
Yeah.
And it is taking care of itself. And I believe it will take care of itself more and more as time comes.
All right. So then EVs clearly
but-
big gainer in all of this, and we are seeing those in numbers, and because we are starting on a smaller base as well, so we will keep seeing good numbers.
Look at two-wheelers. I mean, it's 11%. And somebody was
Yeah.
telling me in scooters, it is 34%.
Yeah.
And somebody was telling me in a month or two, Bangalore EV sales, Bangalore city will be more than the petrol sales. So the world is changing dramatically in the last 5 months.
But now let's go back to numbers. Do you see any specific spot in all the company numbers that you have seen where you see that okay, this is a trend that we should notice?
See, even in the month of June, the retails are more than the dispatches.
Yeah.
Dispatches in passenger vehicle is 397, retail is 410 Vahan, and Vahan you have to add 2-3% more because of the delay and some parts not covered. And generally, June used to have pressure points on stocks built up at dealership. No stocks have been built up. In August, you have the Onam starting, and September end, you start the festival. So this is the first time when you're going to enter the festival season with the pressure points not so visible even in the first week of July. So that extent is a very positive sign. Unless something that dramatically happens wrong in the ecosystem, I mean a war or something which is there, it's a positive
Hope
thing. I hope not, but it's a positive sign. I don't know. I don't remember on 1st July dealers saying that we still require vehicles because the pipeline used to start getting filled from May, June. That's not happened. So retails are going strong, network stock is low, and festival season, even if the demand slightly goes down in July because there's heavy monsoon, there is enough time to build up, or the time to build up is limited, so you have a good option.
All right. Now on monsoon, there is still, IMD has said that we will have a shortfall, but does monsoon impact sales in significant way because our reliance on rural is now increasing?
So clearly tractors it impacts because there is a deficit of in the monsoon about 35%, and especially in the north, south and west region. But with the monsoon have started in the last few days. So if the first impact will be on tractor industry because that's a very direct relationship. Then from tractor it follows to two-wheelers. But generally the impact of the monsoon we've seen over the years on the auto industry has not been to that extent which used to be a decade back.
Yeah.
So let's hope for the best.
All right. I think we have covered most of the points. Now, I think that going ahead also, now that, as you mentioned, festive season is going to start and companies are not pushing stock. But I wanted to ask about discounts. I've not been able to check whether there are discounts in the market or not.
So you'll be surprised, electric vehicles used to have discount of 50,000, 1 lakh. There is no discounts. So there's zero. As you rightly said yourself, the stocks are not there. I mean, look at Mahindra selling 7,500 EVs and an average ticket size of 27 lakhs. So 7,500 has to be seen in the capacity of the. So there are no discounts. Even in two-wheelers and passenger vehicles, there are no such, since discounts occur because of two reasons. When supply is more than demand, and when the dealer stock goes up. Since both of the things are controlled, discounts is part and parcel of the industry and they are factored in the price. They are not such major discounts at the moment.
Are you telling me that they are selling, they're putting a price tag of 105 and then selling for 100, which is what their original
No,
intent
but
was?
actually also I would say the OEMs must be given credit. They didn't pass on, they have still not passed on the real increase in commodity prices. They are holding back. They say we will gain volume at the cost of this thing.
Yeah, and
So,
nobody's ready to part for market share.
nobody wants to part of that. That's a very interesting thing, Mary, which you said rightly. Nobody parts. So nobody is. People said price will go by 8%, 10%. It's just hardly gone up by 3%. 2% is a normal increase. So overall, if commodity prices go up exponentially, but the stock market is behaving differently, they're still not giving a thumbs up to the auto industry because prices are down. That's a story for another day.
I also want to talk about, because you spoke about price increase, there have been some price increase, but do you think that margins will come under pressure because of raw material prices? Because when fuel prices go up, when petrol prices, when crude prices go up, it's not just that petrol prices go up. A lot of commodity prices go up.
So, Mukta, what you're saying is absolutely correct. If you talk to the stock, I mean, although we say we should disown what the stock market is saying, but if you talk to the
Never, not really.
but if you're talking to the big investors, one of the questions being asked is why the stock market is not giving a thumbs up to the auto industry in the last 5 months.
Because
They
of
say
margins.
your margins are under pressure. Your volumes are there, right? Because they look at margins and future profitability. So say if the margins have not been passed from the auto ancillary to the OEMs and OEMs to customers, it is affecting the profit margin. And they look at always this EBITDA margins and profit margins. So that extent has to be seen.
But what about rankings? I think market share, Maruti had some market share gain. Tata Motors has also had a market share gain because we finished FY26 with Mahindra in second position. But now in the first quarter, Tata Motors is clearly in the second position in all 3 months.
So Tata is clearly, but the gap is still not very high. The gap is still
Very close between the three.
It's
between the three,
number two
it's
and
few
number
numbers.
3. It's 2,000 vehicles.
Yeah.
And if you go by although the stock market will look at this way, if you go by the average ticket size of a Mahindra vehicle is much higher than Tata.
True.
So their revenue share is much higher. But having said that, the number 2, 3 is quite close. And one of the reasons why it is close is both are also very aggressive on EVs. So the Tata does 12.5 EV, Mahindra does 7.5.
7,000.
So, but if you cut out the EV, Mahindra is ahead in the first quarter.
Yeah.
So it's a close race.
But also you have to look at this, that Mahindra has product at higher end where, as you said, ticket size is big, but volume compared to the fact that they're at higher end, they still manage very good volumes.
So that's it.
And Tata has a much wider
But
portfolio.
Tata is doing
much
also well in
longer
that.
products.
They're doing well. Both the two Indian companies are firing on all cylinders. I can only
Yes,
say.
that's true. Now, Hyundai had a fire incident at one of their suppliers. There is one company where in the top 4-5 where sales went down was
So
Hyundai.
they had this the fire incident. The production got
Supply.
impacted. So they could do only about 40,000, but they would have done 5,000-7,000 more if the thing was not there.
Thank you, Arun sir, for talking to us and explaining the June numbers in so much detail. So that was our analysis of June 2026. Good numbers and expectation of good performance from here on as well. Now, if you want us to pick up any topic, do let us know. We will pick it up as soon as possible. Thanks so much for watching.